Be here for our election night coverage starting at 7 p.m. with Rich Cioli, Jimmy Fela, Don Stensland, Nick Kayal, and Dom Giordano, plus Walter Sterling into the wee small hours. All live, all local. Election night starting at 7 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and on the free Odyssey app.
Businesses to watch.
It's tailgate season at Armin Chevrolet. Armin offers an incredible lineup of SUVs. A 2025 Armin Chevrolet Trek starts at only $21,495. That's right, only $21,495. From the all-new Armin Equinox and Traverse to the stylish Blazer to the full-size Tahoe and Suburban, Armin Chevrolet has an SUV to fit your needs and budget. It's tailgate season, and Armin Chevrolet is the place to buy or lease your perfect Chevrolet SUV. Armin, where dealership meets friendship. Together, let's drive. Learn more at arminchevy.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids right here in our own backyard are facing hunger every day? Without healthy food, it's harder to grow, to thrive, to feel their best.
The impact when children don't have enough to eat is tremendous because when you're hungry and your basic needs aren't being met, you cannot learn.
Every child deserves to be fed. This is a problem we know how to solve. Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Breakfast in the classroom contributes to kids being more focused, which leads to higher grades, and simply just their well-being.
Thank you!
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, you breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
A promise is potent, born of intention, fueled by commitment. It's seeing things through, always showing up. And we know a thing or two about promises here at Susan G. Komen. Over 40 years ago, we locked arms with you toward one vision: a world without breast cancer. By investing in life-saving research and standing up for patient rights, we are shifting the system so all people everywhere get the care they deserve. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to raise money to honor the best friend you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Ending breast cancer needs all of us. Visit Komen.org and be a part of the Susan G. Komen community today.
Calling on Percy to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
I'm Maria Bartiromo, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The day before Election Day, a down one on Wall Street. The Dow fell 258 points. The S&P 500 off 16. The NASDAQ fell 60. The Dow's been down 9 of the last 11 sessions. AI leader NVIDIA is slated to replace Intel on the Dow before the market opens on Friday. Intel shares dipping 3%. NVIDIA's market cap now about $3.3 trillion, joining Apple in that stratosphere. Sherwin-Williams will also join the Dow on Friday, taking the spot of Dow Inc. Shares of Sherwin-Williams up more than 4.5% Monday. Today, we get the latest numbers on the U.S. trade deficit. Factory orders down 0.5 percentage point in September. But the big news will come Thursday this week when the Fed will announce its latest interest rate decision. Fed Chair Jerome Powell expected to announce a 0.25 point reduction following the 0.5 point reduction in September. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Kevin Uretsky. Invested in you.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
Some voters say the choice this election year is an easy one.
I voted for Kamala Harris for president because I believe that she is going to do the best job to protect the rights of all Americans and the social welfare and the justices and the personal rights of all Americans.
She's in Wisconsin, one of the so-called blue wall states, where this voter, also in Madison, came to a very different conclusion.
I supported Donald Trump for president because I want my kids to have a better future. I want to have a better future. I would like to have lower taxes. I would like to have just a better economy overall.
But this Pennsylvania voter was still undecided, even while waiting in line to vote.
My mind wants to do one thing, my heart wants to do another thing.
A degree of uncertainty that just adds to the suspense of a tight race heading into election night.
We're lucky that 2 of the 7 swing states have early closing times.
We spoke with Fox News Radio political anchors Jared Halpern and Jessica Rosenthal, who will lead Fox Radio's election night coverage tonight, along with Fox News Radio political analyst Josh Kraushaar.
So right at 7 o'clock Eastern time, Georgia closes. Half an hour later, North Carolina closes. Those are those Sunbelt states, both very closely contested 4 years ago, both of them very much on the minds of Democrats. If those races have a little bit more maybe distance between the two candidates than polling suggests, that's going to give us a lot of clues about the rest of the swing states, right? If Harris is able to knock off Georgia or North Carolina, and we see that early on, that's going to bode well for her for the rest of the night. Conversely, if those are pretty comfortable margins, say for Trump, again, that's going to mean that we're really going to have to watch Michigan. We're really going to have to watch Wisconsin and certainly Pennsylvania. So Georgia and North Carolina being some of the earliest states that we get. And historically, reporting out numbers pretty quickly, too, will really go a long way, and I think helping us get a sense of where the night will go over the next several hours beyond that 7 p.m. closing time.
It'll be interesting to see, too, how so much more early voting impacts anything, because it seems like it's still, unknown how much of that early vote was new voting and how much of it could be...
Jared calls it cannibalizing.
Right,
the
cannibalizing.
Vote.
Well, but and both parties are really optimistic about it. Obviously 4 years ago, 8 years ago, when you saw a huge early vote, that meant that it was advantage Democrats. Democrats were the early voters. It meant that they weren't going to have to make up as many margins on Election Day. Certainly since 2020, the Republican Party, even former President Trump himself, has been doing a lot of messaging to vote early. Vote by mail, vote in person, but get it in early. Don't leave anything to chance. And so because of that, you see these record-setting early votes in places like North Carolina, in places like Georgia. But it's hard to extrapolate data from that and kind of who is it benefiting. We certainly know that it is not benefiting Democrats to the extent that it would have benefited Democrats 4 years ago.
Jess and Jared, you covered Trump getting shot not that long ago. Really, when it comes down to it, it wasn't that many months ago. So much changed in such a short time in this race. It's almost easy to forget that Harris wasn't even the candidate not that many months ago.
We were just talking about this, Lisa. We were talking about how in the beginning, right around South Carolina, right around the after New Hampshire primaries, that we were all talking about, oh boy, we're in for the longest general election season ever, right? And then who could have predicted June 27th, that debate between President Biden and former President Trump, and the pressure campaign that began. I mean, Josh can really talk to this too about just the pressure campaign that began on President Biden at that point. And during that pressure campaign, we saw former President Trump shot, the iconic image of him, fist in the air, chanting "fight, fight, fight," going straight into the Republican convention. All of that wrapped up 2 days later, President Biden comes out on a Sunday and says, "I'm out. I'm not going to move forward anymore." That was about 3 weeks after that debate performance, and everything just turned. And Josh will tell you, we were talking about this earlier too. Was it enough time for Vice President Harris? That there will be a postmortem, an autopsy, and regardless of who wins, of what was done right, what was done wrong. But 3.5 months to run a campaign when we were looking at possibly the longest general election cycle ever in modern, presidential politics it's a whirlwind. It'll turn your head.
Let's bring in Fox News Radio political analyst Josh Koshauer, because it has been a breathtaking series of events. I mean, such a whirlwind in what would have been, maybe a whirlwind on some fronts anyway. I mean, we don't know how long it'll take before we know, was this the right thing for the Democrats to do?
Well, look, I think it's important to just take a breath and think about how kind of predictable the election was when Joe Biden was running against Donald Trump. And then, as Jess was saying, we have had one of the most dramatic set of twists and turns since July, since Kamala Harris replaced Joe Biden on the ballot, and all the internal chaos in the Democratic Party and the conventions and the assassination attempts. We are now in one of the closest campaigns that I've ever covered. I think you have pollsters saying one thing, you have data analysts saying another thing, you have the vibes going one direction. This is about as suspenseful an election night as I think we've ever covered. And perhaps the votes are going to break in one direction, and in the end it won't be like super, super close. But this is one of the more unpredictable elections, and the consequences are so significant in terms of how this country will be governed. You have Kamala Harris with quite a progressive record, and you have Donald Trump being Donald Trump and his populist conservatism and MAGA movement really retaking and reshaping the Republican Party. So the stakes are high, the drama is high, and this is about as close as it gets going into Election Day.
I know there are different paths for either Trump or Harris to win, but Josh, which battlegrounds could either one afford to lose and still have a path?
Well, look, I am, and I sound like a broken record on this, but it's going to come down to the blue wall states, the Midwestern states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. I don't think it's pretty hard to see Kamala Harris winning without sweeping all three of those states. But if we see on election night some of the Sun Belt states, the southern states like North Carolina or Georgia, which, by the way, report their results pretty early, if all of a sudden they're looking a little bit more favorable to Kamala Harris, then that would be a very strong signal about her, at the very least, having more paths perhaps to victory. But to me, look, the historical statistic that's worth remembering is that in every election since 1992, with the one exception of 2016, Democrats have swept those three states altogether. Every election, Trump broke the code in 2016. It reverted back to form in 2020. So to me, I'm just going to be pouring over the returns in those three blue wall states as a sign of where this election is going.
I've heard North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona sort of referred to as a red wall. That's must-win territory in many ways for former President Trump. If he loses one of those three, his path to 270 becomes a lot more difficult, a lot more challenging.
And here's where it gets interesting. If the red wall breaks, right, and Kamala Harris picks off one of those states,
then which blue
we're going to be here for we're going to be here for a long time. We're going to be waiting for Arizona. We're going to be waiting. Yeah. This could go into overtime.
Well,
a lot of waiting.
Which blue wall do you think is most likely to break? Is it Pennsylvania because of the polling, or is it Wisconsin because of some previous data we have on the state?
Well, if you look at the polling and strictly the polling, Pennsylvania is the state that is going to be the tipping point state. If you look at the demography and the makeup of the three states in the Midwest, Wisconsin is actually the state that on paper is most favorable to Donald Trump. And, interestingly enough, I've talked to a lot of Republicans and Democrats working on Senate races and working in the state for various campaigns. They are, Democrats in particular, are worried about Wisconsin as much as they are Pennsylvania.
Jess, I know you had a chance to speak to some voters recently. Were they excited, nervous, unsure? Did you sense any kind of an overall theme?
Well, I've spent a lot of time in North Carolina, and I've actually run into quite a few voters who are not voting, which I found fascinating. I've gone to the rallies, right? I've gone to some Harris rallies. I've gone to J.D. Vance and a Trump rally in North Carolina primarily. And all those voters are pumped. They believe North Carolina is going to go their way. It only went for Trump by a little over a point in 2020. It's a very, very tight state. I've seen a lot of Harris wall signs bordering swing counties in blue areas of as you would imagine, but also in those swing areas, I've seen a lot of prominent Harris wall signs. But then you talk to people, the bases are out. They're motivated, right? They're the kinds of people who show up at a rally, as you would imagine. They believe the state is going their way. I spoke to one voter, African-American man, who told me that it's about turnout to him, that he believes that in the heart of North Carolina, there are enough people that will get Harris over the edge if they vote. And he said, these are people that I know that typically don't vote. And then, of course, the flip side, the Trump supporters, you might think of North Carolina as a red state, so they're motivated as well. But in the last few days, I have spoken to 4 people who have said, I'm not voting.
Well,
and I didn't get into it with all of them. I didn't get the nuance of it all. But they're just not into either of these candidates for various reasons.
Wow. And so they're not into them enough to not vote.
Yeah. So I found that very, very interesting in a time where both of these campaigns are, look, at the end, are we going after undecided voters? I don't know if it's more about undecideds or it's more about turnout. If those folks are people who might have tilted one way or another and they're just going to, sit on the couch, we'll find out which campaign has a bigger problem with the war with the couch.
Yeah. Josh, many people have said for quite a while now they're not happy with the direction of the country. Does this really come down to which candidate has been able to sell themselves as the one bringing change? And in Vice President Harris's case, has she done enough to distinguish herself from the Biden administration?
Well, this is fundamentally a battle between policy and personality. When you look at the polls, Kamala Harris is viewed personally more favorably than Donald Trump. But when people ask about the administration that she serves on and their policies, big disapproval. When you actually ask about the job approval rating for the vice president, much higher negative ratings than her personal favorability ratings. So look, if this was a referendum on policy, Donald Trump would be up significantly, but it's not. And Kamala Harris is betting on her message of unity, joy, and some degree of bipartisanship will win out the day over the disapproval that many Americans have towards the direction of the country.
You guys all well rested and ready for a potentially late night?
I'll rest after we have the results.
After January 20th.
I was going to say that could take a lot longer.
It's adrenaline on election night. And if we have if it's as close as it looks, this could be quite the night.
And let's remember, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin do not start counting ballots until the day of the election.
It is a marathon and a sprint.
Fox News Radio political anchors Jared Halpern, Jessica Rosenthal, and Fox News Radio political analyst Josh Kwashauer. We look forward to your coverage tonight. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thanks,
Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
A reminder, Fox News Radio will provide special coverage tonight beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern. Listen for updates on this station and online at foxnewsradio.com.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at Robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at Robinhood.com/election.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Not all policies will qualify. Not available in all states.
Don't miss the epic return of Yellowstone, premiering Sunday at 8, 7 Central, only on Paramount Network.
Legacy. You build something worth having. Someone's going to try and take it. What I'm doing isn't for the ranch. It's for us.
America's #1 show returns.
I spent my whole life here. Me too.
You destroy me, you destroy yourself.
Unlike you, I keep my promises.
The epic return of Yellowstone, Sunday at 8, 7 Central on Paramount Network.
Hey, Dawn here. When it comes to your home, trust is everything. For 45 years, Kitchen Magic has built a reputation for transforming kitchens with precision and care. From custom cabinets to countertops, backsplashes, in just a few days, your dream kitchen becomes a reality without all the hassle. Trust the name your neighbors have relied on for decades. Kitchen Magic. Get your free in-home consultation at kitchenmagic.com. Kitchenmagic.com. Let's cook up something extraordinary. Tell Dawn sent you.
I'm John Morgan. When people stop me to ask, what's my case worth, here's what I tell them. All law firms are not the same at all. You see, the most important part of anyone's injury case is the firm you hire. The insurance company knows exactly which firms fight for full value and which firms will settle your case for pennies on the dollar. Our firm has recovered billions, $3 billion last year alone. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you. Morgan & Morgan, official partner of the Philadelphia 76ers.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Their video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
November means the holidays are here. Thanksgiving, Christmas, family and workplace gatherings, hosting, going. Need to plan a meal? Simple. Visit your nearest Captain Chucky's location. Remember the always popular delicious Smith Island Jumbo Lump Crab Cake and the mega colossal lightly breaded Scrumptious Crab Cake. Try their delicious homemade soups. Captain Chucky's has an expansive selection and so many different things to choose from. Locations everywhere. Visit WeLoveCrabCakes.com. That's WeLoveCrabCakes.com. At the shore, visit CaptainChucky'sAtTheShore.com.
Fox News, I'm Sue Guzman. Time to vote. The presidential candidates making their final pitches to voters. Former President Trump asking his supporters,
"Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?"
Vice President Kamala Harris telling supporters in Pittsburgh,
"Let's get out the vote. Let's 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 win."
And the 6 residents of Dixville Notch, New Hampshire voted at midnight. 3 of them voted for Trump, 3 for Harris. And machinists at Boeing voting to end their nearly 2-month-long strike. This worker is relieved.
I need to work. You know, I got a child, I got car payments, I got rent, so everybody has a different situation.
The deal includes raises of 38% over the next 4 years. America's listening to Fox News.
This is the Fox News Rundown. Now a look at sports.
The undefeated Kansas City Chiefs won their 14th consecutive game. KC knocked off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime 30-24. The New Orleans Saints fired head coach Dennis Allen after a 7-game losing streak. Special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi takes over. Dallas Cowboys QB Dak Prescott will miss Sunday's game against Philadelphia because of a hamstring injury. The Cleveland Cavaliers improved to 8-0 by knocking off Milwaukee 116-114. Oklahoma City moved to 7-0. The Thunder down Orlando 102-86. And Mark Pope won his first game as Kentucky head coach. The Wildcats beat Wright State 103-62. That's sports on the Fox News Rundown. I'm Bob Mortale, Fox News.
Hey, Dawn Stensland here. You know how important online privacy and security are these days. That's why I subscribe to Privacy Pro from DuckDuckGo. It's a 3-in-1 privacy subscription service that helps protect your personal info from being exploited by hackers, scammers, and privacy-invasive companies. Plus, it's from DuckDuckGo, so you know it's legit. With Privacy Pro, DuckDuckGo's VPN secures your Wi-Fi connection anytime, anywhere. Second, it has identity theft restoration, so if your identity gets stolen, DuckDuckGo Privacy Pro helps you restore it. And third, personal information removal. Have you ever searched your name online and then noticed how many sites are actually selling the information about you? Try it yourself. Privacy Pro is going to help you remove your personal info from those creepy sites so they can't share or sell it. Get all this for $9.99 a month. If you go to DuckDuckGo.com/1210, you'll get an exclusive 7-day free trial on me. That's DuckDuckGo.com/1210. Tell Dawn sent you.
Now, the big wireless companies want to limit you to two choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. Now, stop overpaying for data that you're never, ever going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when all you need is a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. Now, with Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data that you actually want and need. And for example, for $25 a month, you'll get unlimited talk and text, 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, and they'll include mobile hotspot and roaming in 50-plus countries. Stop overpaying for wireless. Get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW, and do it now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. The switch is simple, fast, and easy. No contract to sign, no activation fee, and you keep your phone and your phone number. Pound 250, keyword SAVE NOW, the same service for much less, for about half, from Pure Talk.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,500